Welcome to the Some Laugh podcast.
It could be like, oh, that was some laugh, or there was just some laughs.
Some laughs.
Well, no promising all laugh.
No, there's going to be some.
It's some laugh. I had a couple of weird shows throughout the festival, but it was one I don't really want to talk about because I don't want to get the people the satisfaction. Because basically
Oxygen of
they
publicity.
met
Oh,
you.
yeah.
So what happened was, I must say, I would want to start off by saying, genuinely, entire run was really fun, and like all the crowds were so sound, except like 3 people throughout the whole month.
Three different shows, or
Three
people
different,
in the one.
3 different show.
You want to
people in
consolidate
shows.
all your pricks into one audience.
Yeah.
Get it. Rip
And
off
one
the
of them
Band-Aid.
was, I was walking to my gig, and you said to me
Yeah,
that
we
you bumped into somebody.
So it was people who had bumped into, got recognised again by this person.
As my friend.
Can't he walk down the street these days, can he, son?
Exactly. It's getting too much. Be careful what you wish for. But no, I got recognised because I'd supported you at the stand, and they were at your gig. It was like, I don't know, March, something like that. And they were like, "Oh, we seen you supporting Jennings. You were quite good."
High praise
And
indeed.
I done well that
You
gig.
did. You done.
So
I heard about that, not even from one of you two. That's how well you did.
Who told you?
Friend of the show, Aggers, was at the show, and he
That's
said,
right.
just watching Steve rip the place up.
Thank you.
Not my words. Words of
Aggers.
John Aggersill.
I wouldn't go that
Thanks.
far, but he done well. Is
I
what
made
the
it
point
tough
is.
for you, Marc. I made it very tough for you. I like to think. So she was at that gig and she bumped into me and she was like, "Yeah, we're just going to see fucking Jennings. I'm going to heckle him."
Yeah.
That's what she said.
I hate when folks say that, like it's a really funny thing to say.
Yeah.
Usually they're joking, though.
And I was like, "Oh, I don't think he'll like that or whatever." And she said something weird. I can't even remember exactly what it was, but it was something like, he said, "Don't do this, but I'm going to do it." Or
Yeah,
something like
I think they were. I think at that show they said to me, "I'm coming to see the Fringe, and I'll give you it tight." And I'm like made a joke about it,
that.
going,
Oh,
"Who cares about that? That'll be in the future." And then, of course, that day that you're talking about, where you met her in the street, was as a awards panel judging, right? Now, I wasn't writing a show that was going for any awards or anything, obviously, but you want to have a good.
You want to give a good account
You
of
want to
yourself.
give a good account of yourself
Yep.
when you've got somebody for the industry in, which for me was rare. So I was like, well, this is one of the only days, one things to just go smoothly, whatever. So literally, I'm walking to them, 10 yards for the show, and I fucking meet you, and you tell me that somebody's planning on heckling me,
Premeditated.
and you told me what they looked like and stuff, and then basically, so I said to the staff when I went in, but it's weird, right? Because if the show's not happened yet, you can't chuck someone out before they've heckled. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, nothing's happened. So
well, did you not ask?
I just said keep an eye on it,
Yeah.
and then they were like, "See the
I-
people you've described are down the front," and I was like, "You're fucking joking me."
Because I was with CMB one show and there was people being loud and the venue staff was like, "Oh, they're coming into your show," and he was like, "Can you just not let them in?"
And did they do it?
I'm not sure if they done it, but
It is a hard thing
That's
to
when
do.
you want to nip it in the bud, really.
And even when they
Yeah.
said they're in the front row, and I was like, fuck. And they're like, "Do you want us to try and move them?" And I'm like, "But how are you going to go about that? There's no possible way to do it." I mean, they have told that there's an advance they're going to heckle. And then, so I thought, well, do you know what? I'll just go out and I'll just try and deal with it. And it is what it is. And you can't control these things, when something mad's happening in the room. I went on stage and within 20 seconds, they'd heckled me twice. I didn't even really get
It's
a
an
sense.
unbelievable hit
what
rate.
did they say?
They just started saying things to me. I can't even remember what it was. And so I just went through them and I was like, "Look, yous need to fucking shut up." He's did it. He's tackled me twice in 20 seconds. He's did it again, you're out. But it's a terrible way to start a show because
Yeah.
you've not got the audience on
You're worried
side
about
yet.
looking like a dick as well.
I'm worried about looking like a dick, looking like an angry school teacher or these type of things. When nothing's actually happened yet. Some people maybe not even seen me before and they're going, "What the fuck's this?"
Why?
And also the thing is, like, I came into your show the day I was at your show, Stu, like there was somebody talking in the second row, and see when you're at the back, you can't really hear it. I could tell it was annoying you, and there was a couple of times when you addressed it that I'd picked up on it, but when you're on stage, you often hear it, especially when they're in the front row.
Yeah.
You often hear stuff and they're aware of stuff that some of the people around them are, but a lot of the room aren't they?
Yeah.
I'm mainly worried about pissing off everyone around them.
Well, that's it.
Isn't it just like this grenade that goes off?
Yeah.
that fucking
So
ruins it?
Anyway, it's funny because I think I give them the satisfaction that we've started this by doing it. But anyway, so I just had to say that right at the start. I had to go on a wee bit two-footed, and they were just steaming, and they just didn't get it. They obviously have not been a lot of comedy, whatever, and they just still throughout the show were still butting in. They talked over a couple of punchlines, which I just kind of ignored.
Yeah.
Then at one point, because they'd seen the show in March, or May, it was like June. I was like, June, right? It came out. It wasn't even that long before.
Was
And
that
so
that
they'd
was the show? It wasn't them, but it was a show that there was other distractions in the show.
No, this is a different show. I think
the
than the
lassie
one
tapping the stage.
than the one that I think that might have been that night, but it was different people. Anyway,
Right,
it doesn't matter. I get a lot of disruptions, right? But basically, she then was like, said something. I've got this bit of talk about earphones, and before I got to it, she's like, earphones, and I'm like, right, you've obviously seen the show before. Don't like fucking she's getting spoilers from a fucking show and the thing. So I'm like, right, fuck's sake. So I get through the whole thing, and I know, even they just wanted attention. So that sounds like a weird thing to say if you've not done stand up and that, but like, they were just, even when they were in the heckling, they were just overly laughing and fucking the flow of the whole show. Really, and they just, it was basically like all attention. They just wanted me to give them attention. So even they were big laughing, and so it's like this moat that I had to try and go over, because sometimes the rest of the room has stopped laughing and they're still like pure being all loud and all that, and it looks as though I'm milking the gig much more than it's actually going well.
Yeah.
So it's like a weird thing, right? So basically I just was like hating it, and I was like, I've got somebody in the room today, I just want to give a good account of myself, and it's all, I've already fucked it. So I was just like annoyed, and then they still were just shouting, even when it was clear that they just had to shut up. And I basically finished the show, and I just tried to like land in the last 20 minutes. I barely had to speak to them. I didn't really speak to them at all, and I went, let's just try and land the show well, have a good one, and get out of there. And I did. And then when they came out, they came up to me at the bucket, and they just were like, "Oh, I wouldn't have ever wanted intentionally to ruin it." And I said, "Well, you did ruin it."
Told him.
I said,
you
ruined the show. I said this. I said, you ruined the show. You told my mate that you were going to come in and do this, and then you done it straight away. And then even when I told you to stop it, and I said, I had something
getting out of it.
Exactly. And I said, I had something important in the day, and you completely ruined anything that, would ever come of it because of that. And then they're like, give me a hug and all this stuff. And I'm like, fuck off. I'm like, fuck off. And I was just like, no, I didn't even say fuck off. I was just like, no, I'm not giving you a hug. You're not getting a picture of this stuff. And I just...
I'm glad
that's
you did that.
all I've got.
Yeah.
That's all I've got, right? Because the whole
Steve
time
would
when
have hugged them.
Oh,
when I'm
big time.
dealing
I
with
would have
the
been
room,
hugging them before they asked. I would have been like, come here, big
again,
man.
see this whole thing about attention, because then they messaged me on Facebook and Twitter, right? Both saying basically the same thing of like, I can't believe how rude you were to us after this. And we actually thought that you dealt with the heckling so well, it improved the show, which is the classic heckler, right? And they think it's improving it.
Classic.
I shouldn't need to deal with that.
Yeah.
Look, you can deal with it. I can deal with it. I've dealt with it all my fucking time doing comedy. But if you do it, I don't think it's cool.
Yeah.
And you're fucking no welcome back. And then, so I just, and see, because I knew they wanted to, and I had so many things that I wanted to say of like, why they were in the wrong, and just why it was just out of order. And I just thought, they don't deserve it, so I just blocked them on everything. And then they messaged me. They woke up the next day and messaged me on Twitter. The only thing I don't block them on, going, I can't believe I just woke up and you can't believe how rude you were, and blah, blah, blah. You're not coming back. And I'm like, fucking good. That's exactly what I don't want. So I blocked them on Twitter and all. Fuck you. If you're watching this, get to fuck. Never come to my show again. You fucking stupid Bamsford Bathgate. You fucking East Coast Bam wankers, right?
You're always welcome at my gig.
I can't alienate the East Coast, man.
But what I would say is there was two boys in the crowd that day who are some laugh listeners, and they came up to me after and they were very nice, and they were like, they cunts were arseholes. I actually got a lot of messages that day from people who were in the crowd going, they were a bunch of wankers, and like, and there's two boys that listened to some laugh, and they were fucking dead sound after it, and they were just said they enjoyed the show and were fucking saying they were bellends and all, and it was just nice to, and I was like, you know what, that's the people I wanted at the show anyway. There were two fucking sound lads. As I say, everybody else, like throughout the shows, there was like one or two other days where there was stuff kind of happening in the room, but mainly because I didn't really have anyone important in any, like I didn't have any industry, I didn't need to show because I could just roll with it, and because I don't like those kind of interactions, so the fact I'd had that, like anytime somebody did heckle, I was just a bit more lighthearted about it, because I was like, I don't like to be pure.
Yeah.
And there was a guy one time, and I had to really go in on him because he just wouldn't shut the fuck up. But then by the end of it, like, we were all pals and it was fine. It was an interesting one, but it was just a shame. It's always sod's law. Like, these things always happen on the days, the worst.
If you've got a review,
days.
and it'll be when you've sold the worst tickets, and when there's cancelling them.
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
Happens.
I know.
That's how they can get in, because there's no fucking other people buying tickets. That's the days that they can come.
I know. But anyway, aside from that, it was enjoyable, friend.
It's always annoying when you have something like a little bit of chat or whatever. It's not like enough to actually go in, but it's enough to piss you off.
Yeah.
I had somebody who, because like in the venue, it was all plastic cups.
Aye.
And they were sitting like right at the front, and I could tell no one else even knew it was gone, but the whole way they were just like cracking their cup at, like a ticking clock. And I don't even remember the show. I don't remember a word I said. All I'm thinking about is this fucking cup pissing me off for an hour.
That's so funny.
I'm just like white knuckling it.
Did you say to them?
Nah, because I knew it'd ruin the gig.
Well, that is like that time.
Like a dick.
That was like that time that you were talking about when I was doing the last time I done the stand in Glasgow, and it was like I could just hear a like noise for the back, like the back of me, and some upstairs for the stand. Sometimes they've got like a dance night thing or something, because sometimes like the radio mic, it would cut in with their fucking exercise and stuff sometimes.
Really?
So I thought, oh fuck, is something like that happening? And then I was like, what the fuck is it? And then I looked round to the side of the stage, and it was this lassie, and she's like tapping her foot against the backdrop, which I didn't even realise that was possible to like be heckled in that way. It was insane.
Yeah. It's a new form.
A new form of heckling. So there's just like sometimes weird things like that happen. There's something else like that happened.
Mind when you were speaking about the dance.
Yeah,
noises and that. Me and Marc went to watch the Man United Liverpool game at the Pear Tree during the Fringe. And
this is so funny.
Instead of they were playing music beforehand, and then they were like cutting to the live commentary.
What the commentary?
Instead of Martin Tyler, I don't know how they did it, but we're just in this big beer garden. Loads of people want to watch the football.
Yeah.
But instead of the commentary, they play the live mic from the gig at the next door, but it's just some like American doing crowd work, like, so hey, we drinking tonight, who's in? It's fucking ridiculous.
So my wife's a fucking asshole. And sitting going like, my god, man, Tyler's got a lot more harsh.
That'd be my worst nightmare.
Yeah, proper. I mean, he probably would never have known, right?
I was so close to getting a video of it, because it's just such an odd thing to see.
It looked like some kind of weird like Fringe prank as well. Like, everyone's like looking around like, what's going on? And it stayed on for a long. No. It was like 5 minutes. Well, I don't know. It was longer than you'd expect it.
Probably about 30 seconds to a minute. I think it was, because it wasn't.
It wasn't like a fuck, and then they did it. Like, it did linger a bit. You could like
because it was just like clearly somebody at the bar's like flipped a switch, and they're not outside in the beer guys. They don't realise it's happened, and then somebody must have ran in and gone, I need to hear Roy Keane's take on this.
Not many people's acts would sound good just piped into a beer garden.
I think that's the worst possible place to enjoy comedy, is in a beer garden where you're sitting to watch a game. There's one thing that we were talking when we had Liam on. He told a story about when I was staying with him, and I feel it's time for Stuart to share some of his experiences at the Fringe.
First, I'd like to say I'm not comfortable with any of this, but seeing as though Marc had a one night stand story, you don't know about this, do you?
No, I don't know about this. I am a listener.
You're
for this
all
one.
ears.
Yeah.
I feel like Marc's building up here, but so I was living with Gareth Waugh, friend of the show, good comedian, and his partner, who is heavily pregnant. So I felt like, although they were like really nice to me, that's not the story. But like when we arranged to go, like my ex arranged for it, and then we split up. So the idea was it's going to be two couples living together, sort of suburban, domestic. But actually, it's just like a single guy on his own in this bedroom, and now this couple who are heavily pregnant. So it's a completely different situation to what anyone signed up for. And I was like really wanting to, keep my head down, keep my powder dry, not upset anyone. Although they never did anything but make me feel welcome. I didn't want to like upset them or keep them up or anything like that. But I still want to fuck. Don't get me wrong. That's the duality of man, right? One night, right? I go out, I come home, and I'm not alone. I've got a friend with me. And what I'd forgotten was that, I don't even know if you know this part of it, but I'd forgotten that Laura, Gareth's partner, her like mum and dad were coming around. It was like a Saturday into Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And they were bringing these 3 dogs with them. And it's not another dog with a Johnny story, by the way, so you can chill out. But I'd completely forgotten, got drunk, come back with this girl. We enjoy one another's worldviews. And then I don't think any more of it. And then we wake up next day together hungover. And you can just hear this house like full of activity, do you know what I mean? And there's no way to get out. and it'd be really awkward. I can just hear like fully grown adults talking about fucking mortgage rates and shit. All these dogs scampering around. I'm like, for fuck's sake, what are we gonna do? Like, it's gonna be so awkward leaving. You know, I'm mainly feeling bad for her at this point, to be honest. Of like, how are you gonna get out here? And she really was not up for
Going out the
dicing
window.
with these people. Well, you say that.
The fuck.
She's like, does that window open? And I'd only ever had it like 3 inches like
Are you
tilted like that.
upstairs?
We're on the ground floor, but there is a slight drop.
Okay.
I was like, I mean, if she's proposing it, then that's a goer. You know what I mean?
Gareth lives right next to a river. Stuart's like, well, come on, how much do I get here?
So we open the, like a door. And we're like, I mean, this is made to escape from, right? But the problem is there's like a gate right in front of it, like bars, to stop people getting in.
Right.
And it's quite high. It's like 4 feet or something like that. So it's like escaping prison. So she gets her belongings, and I give her a footy, like lovers do.
Oh, aye.
Boost her out the window. She thuds down.
That's
on
usually
the
to
gravel.
get lovers usually do that on the way in. Never see that scene. It's like somebody scampering, and they're coming up the fucking drain pipe thing. You never see them fucking getting chucked back down.
Such a romantic scene.
Romeo and Juliet.
Later on in the afternoon, I come through. The adults have dispersed. Gareth's like, it's like the neighbourhood WhatsApp's going crazy, man. The block. I'm like, oh yeah, what's going on? He's like, saying there was a break-in last night, and yeah, she left via the window. Like, do you know anything about that? And I'm like trying to not look like, well, I'm just kind of weird and shit myself. And then he just cracks up laughing. He's like, he's having you on. Basically, what had happened is Gareth was outside. I didn't realise. I just boosted this girl. He was watering the plants like 3 feet to the left. I had no fucking idea. And he just looks up and sees me launching a 33-year-old film director at my bedroom window. So that was one Saturday at the Fringe.
That's very good.
That's
Enjoyed that.
Fucking hell.
We must address the elephant in the room. I'm back.
The bitch
This
is
is
back.
right.
The bitch is back.
Back from the dead like
How you
Lazarus.
I know. Fuck's sake, it's been 2 weeks.
2 weeks without you, man.
And the numbers have dropped off greatly, so it's good to be back. Here to rescue you, boys. Nah, good, man. It's been good. Good to be break, but it's good to be back.
I get it. Did
Should
you
say you
enjoy
did have
having
COVID.
COVID? Did you?
Yeah, sorry, yeah. It's not just
I had my suspicions that you just couldn't be fucked coming back
This
to
is
Edinburgh.
so convenient, by the way.
Yeah.
The day after your show finished, that you caught COVID. By
Yeah.
the way, me and Stuart went to see your show that last day.
Yeah.
I'm
Never
like,
got
there's no
shit.
way that we've not got. We caught it. We had to just do the rest of our full run anyway.
Not much of an atmosphere at Steve's gigs. It's not spreading in there.
Come on. Very infectious.
Laughter amidst it.
Laughter was infectious at that gig. Come on. Yeah, I got it the day after. I didn't feel that well that day, admittedly, but I'd done a couple of wee COVID tests and they were negative. And I thought, I mean, you kind of just cancel your last gig if you've just got we've got the sniffles,
Sure.
So, but then the next day I woke up and it was positive.
How did you feel?
It was alright. It was just like a cold.
Right.
That's my second time getting it. The first time was way worse, I would say.
And then you ended up going on holiday after that while we were still slaving away.
Yeah, well, you
Dealing with
encouraged it.
hecklers and
I believe you
trying to
encouraged
chuck
women
stuff
out
women out windows.
Yeah, I went away to Belfast. You encouraged it. Come on.
I did. Well, it was good because we managed to get some more guests on while we were there. So
You specifically messaged me
I
saying.
did say you should go on holiday.
You said we want some extra guests on. If you're not there, it's probably better.
I said, listen, if you don't care about the listeners, then by all
We've
means
not
go on
skipped a
holiday.
week, have we, Marc?
We've been here.
Some of us care.
There will come a time, and then you'll eat your words.
How was Belfast?
Good, very good. Yeah. Ever been?
No.
I have, but only for a day for a gig.
I'd
What
been
did you
before
do?
for the gig. Done all the touristy stuff. Done a wee bus tour. Learned about the
Alright.
troubles.
Yeah,
Those guys had some troubles.
I did, yeah.
It was trouble in city.
sure.
It's-
Famously.
Bus tour over troubled city.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of went into like the guy on the overhead speaker was like, "We're coming into the Catholic bit, and then we're coming into the Protestant bit." It's very easy to spot when it's the Protestant bit.
Really?
It's harder. Well, it's fucking bunting
Is there not
everywhere.
murals in everywhere though?
There's like Union Jacks on every lamppost
Is there?
and like bunting hanging from people's like houses across the street and shit like that.
Right.
It's crazy. And then
Can I just have bunting all year round? It should be for
Yeah.
a special occasion. Jubilee, fair enough.
Yeah, it's probably left over from the Jubilee.
Yeah.
I would
It was
say.
weird. See, when I was in Belfast, it was actually just before the last election. So not only did they have all the murals and stuff, but they did just have posters for like Sinn Féin and shit, which just
Not
seemed
like the Fringe.
yeah. It was like it was weird, like how just seeing like all these things that are like the kind of what the murals not are all about, but it's like no, vote this year for this as well, like
Yeah.
DUP, Sinn Féin, all this kind of stuff. Like
Aye.
it was interesting just to kind of see
Still
like
an ongoing thing.
yeah, it's like an ongoing thing, and it's just their political parties. Do you know what I mean?
Aye, because it was like we were driving through. It's like these gates kind of gated off some of the big murals, and it's like they have to lock these at 7 o'clock every night.
So that people don't try and
Fucking
destroy
destroy them and shit.
Yeah.
It's mental.
I mean, the thing is, regardless of what you think on either side, they're all really nice. It's
Aye,
cool to have these
there's-
Should
murals.
get Vittorio
impressive.
back on for this.
But aye, it was good. Went to the Titanic experience.
What was that like?
Good. Yeah.
What kind of stuff do they have?
I'm glad to hear you
you
survived
get to feel
that
like
as
you're on
well.
the boat.
Well, what?
I'm glad to hear you survived that. COVID and the Titanic, man. This guy's fucking 9 lives, Stevie Buchanan.
Unbreakable. They can't call it a museum because there's actually no artifacts or anything.
Right.
So it's just an experience. So
The
they kind
old
of
crab flavoured sticks routine.
yeah.
What kind of stuff do they have?
So they just tell you about it and stuff. There's like a wee ride. It's like a wee fun.
We ghost train.
You go straight. It is like a wee ghost train. You like go through on this cart, and it kind of shows you these are the welders, and then it goes down and it shows you. But this thing's moving like 1 mile per hour. Right, it's so slow. I was with Catherine.
It's like an iceberg.
She fucking hates rides and stuff, and the guy was like, oh, it's like a 60-foot drop, and she was thinking it was like the Pepsi Max or some shit, but it was literally on like a suspended thing going
Do you
this
think she's at
slowly,
a disaster themed M&D's?
and she was shaking like a leaf the whole
Really?
time. Like after
So
she
what-
got off, she was like, oh my god, that was terrifying.
I don't understand though. So if it's a 60-foot drop, so
So it's like this thing that's on a track, this cart, and then it's got a thing that suspends it down, like this sort of mechanical bungee jump. So but
Right.
it's going very slowly down 60
it's just like
foot.
going down in a slow elevator or something.
Aye,
basically.
exactly, yeah. And it's just to show you these different, you know, like
What
this
you
is a
looking at? 'Cause
welder.
that's not how I remember the Titanic.
So it's like this is a welder, and this is what he was doing, and this is his family.
So it's like going
there
down
was-
through the boat.
No, there's no reason for it to
It
be.
sounds shy, this place.
It was quite fun though. I quite enjoyed it. It was good.
It was good to have you back.
Yeah, it's
Feels
great
like
to
This
be
is
back.
top
you're my
quality banner.
barber or something.
It's good. Well, you asked what I got up to.
We and him have just been sleeping for 10 days. I
I
mean,
know.
Sorry, I've not been putting people out windows and stuff like that in Belfast, for fuck's sake.
at least it
my
was a
life
60
isn't
foot drop.
my life isn't as exciting as yours, man.
You're saying about obviously the circumstances that led to you and the living situation at Fringe. It also kind of affected a meeting that you had, Stuart. If you're right to get into it this way, I don't know.
Well, I don't know how inside baseball this is. I feel like we've really hammered the listeners with Fringe stuff. But
Ah,
all right, in my show, I talk about how my ex, who is a comedian, left me for another comedian. It's like something I cover in the show. Spoiler,
yeah.
I suppose. I had to go for a meeting with this like powerful comedy agent, very exciting, and you're like, in your head, you're like, well, nothing will come of this, but also in your head, you're like, oh, I'm gonna be a star. And he's like one of the top guys, and we have this meeting, and it's all cool and everything. But halfway through, he's like, we just start talking about like what shows we've seen and what we're
Aye.
into and stuff. And he's like, do you know who I think's brilliant? Give me like a random name.
Michael McIntyre.
All right, like it wasn't Michael McIntyre. For the record, it wasn't Michael McIntyre. Do you know who I think's brilliant? Michael McIntyre. Do you know him? And I'm like, not personally. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I think he knows me. And then he fucking starts doing like a 5-minute routine from this guy who stole my girlfriend. Does this full routine from his new show, and the routine is about going through the kitchen cupboards at his new girlfriend's mum and dad's house.
Oh my god.
And he's like telling it in like incredible detail, and in my mind I'm like, yeah, I know the cupboards. You know, no one's
very
ever
relatable,
visualized this joke as well as I am right now. I could draw you a blueprint of the house. And I'm like, I don't know whether to. He'd seen my shows also, he knew what happened, but you obviously didn't know that it was that person. But in my mind, because it's like a powerful agent, I'm like, there's a 5% thing of like, is he fucking with me? Is this like a power play?
Aye.
It was a really like. There's been so many weird things
The
that happened to me this
coincidence
year.
of that is
Yeah.
unbelievable.
There's like 10,000 comedians he could have picked, and he picks that one. And it felt like I was in a movie or something, like an out of body thing. I was just like, my life's fucking wild, man. What's going on?
And you just
That's
never
mental.
said anything about it?
I was so tempted to say stuff, but I was like, this is like a big deal, this meeting.
Yeah.
I might get signed to this big agency. I don't want to fuck it by like being weird now. But I mean, at some point, I'm going to have to tell him, I suppose. But
Yeah, man.
yeah, it was so fucking crazy to sit and listen to like, and I was like, in my mind, I'm like, you know, he's only going to be talking about this for like 30 seconds. It was like 5-10 minutes him going on about this guy and the
Fucking
fucking
hell,
bit,
man.
and I'm just sitting, I've just biting my tongue like I've never
Were
before.
were you like laughing along at the bit?
I think I was like,
Like, you're
Yeah.
going, like, just like
Yeah.
pretend to be dead and like, oh, well, that's really interesting angle on that fucking.
I think you should have
knife
been
and
like
fork.
that.
Yeah,
that
that's a-
sounds shite.
that guy sounds like a cunt. Actually. That sounds- you sound like a cunt as well for thinking that's funny.
Oh man,
I mean, it was very relatable, to be fair.
yeah, sure. I mean, I imagine
Yeah.
it'd be.
That's a
Fuck
mental
me.
thing. Because
Yeah.
I don't know if you've spoke about this on here or in your show or that, but like the situation is crazy as it is. You have Michael McIntyre's t-shirts and all that sort of shit
Well, yeah.
that Michael McIntyre, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's also to be more specific about it would kind of dox who it
Yeah,
is.
let's not.
But,
we don't
uh,
need to get into it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird, you know, when you're in like show business or whatever, you know, there's always gossip and stuff, but it's
Yeah.
funny when you know that you are the gossip. Take me out the gossip. It's been
Was
my
there any
year.
party, and I'm sure I think I'm sure this isn't the case, but was there any party that thought, is this guy just taking me out to find out the gossip from that side of it?
Well, I never gave him shit, so it was a failed attempt.
You need to get a fucking you need to get a contract before you fucking spill the beans. on your
Yeah, if you want to know
personal-
exactly what happened, you sign me up.
What I think's funny, I don't know if you want to talk about this either. Sorry if you don't. But
This is a
Steve's such a
this is
gossip,
this is a
man.
difficult episode for me.
sorry, man. But your flat
Stuart, you've been holding back long enough. Come on.
your flatmate Ollie, friend of the show.
Oh, yeah,
great
went
guy,
to see the
went
show.
to see
One of my
the-
best friends. One of
Your-
my two best mates.
one of your best pals for
Because he
years.
bought tickets to see it like a year ago. I can't even believe the fucking neck on that guy that he still went. And
That's
we were
the
chatting
danger.
about it with Ollie and at Monkey Bar one time, and CMB was there, and he was like, Ollie was like, yeah. I was like, he was like, do you know if like is he talking about it in his show? Do you know? And I was like, I don't know. Ask Ollie. He went to see it today, and CMB was laughing because he thought I was joking. He was like, and Ollie was like, oh no, not really. And CMB was like, what? You actually went? No. And he couldn't believe that
He
Ollie
couldn't
had
believe
actually
it,
gone. I
man.
couldn't believe it either, to be fair. But
Well, fucking, I
He's
tell you
like,
what,
I've paid a $5 for
I'm
that.
going
ticket,
to really
gonna
regret
waste
those
it."
Harry Styles tickets next year if he manages to steal my bird at some point.
I went to see Vittorio's extra show one night,
Yeah.
and there was someone in the crowd with me, a famous person,
Yeah.
but
With you were together.
with me, yeah. I didn't tell you who that film director was. Basically,
Did you shag Martin Scorsese?
big time at last.
That's why he had
He
such
likes what's
trouble
the
getting over the
script.
fence. He's too short.
Had to pole vault over the gate. No, so C&B was on at the same time Through the Wall, similar to how me and Marc were next to each other through the wall.
Yeah.
Chris O'Dowd was there from the IT crowd and Bridesmaids and whatever else.
Mm-hmm.
He's lingering about in the bar, and this is so tallies with. Sorry, Chris, to do this, by the way.
Chris O'Dowd,
But-
by the way, not the person who stole your bird.
Yeah, true. We'll say that for every
He's
celebrity
rolled
until
out.
we've named them off.
Yeah.
And
But,
we're talking about CMB, who was the guest. But I don't know if
CMB
I
was the
mentioned-
guest
Yeah.
on this podcast.
Chris is Chris O'Dowd. Christopher MacArthur Boyd is CMB.
For the purposes
Yes.
of the story.
I think we've
going
ever actually
forward.
clarified that. When we bring up CMB, we mean Chris MacArthur Boyd.
Yes.
Who is a previous guest on your
Fantastic comedian. But Chris O'Dowd is hanging around in the bar. C&B goes out for a fag and he sees him. And he's like, thanks so much for coming to the show, man. That's really nice. It means a lot.
He shook his hat. He said he shook his
He
hand.
shook
and
his
the
hand.
thing.
I go up to see Vittorio, who's sitting in front of me, Chris O'Dowd, which means he's not at C&B's gig, he's at Vittorio's gig. C&B's just gone up to Chris O'Dowd, introduced himself, shook his hand, thank you so much for coming. He fucking wasn't coming. He's
Thank
going
him
to the
for
show
going
next
to a
door.
show that he had no
And
intention
it so
of coming.
tallies with everything Chris told us on this podcast.
And why did they assume?
Yet
Assume
another
about-
celebrity encounter that's gone wrong.
Yeah,
for
mate,
Why
that
that's
did
guy.
they
serious and
assume that he was definitely going to see his
Don't
Yes,
know.
he told me because he said it on Twitter. Chris, like he'd messaged Chris O'Dowd because Chris O'Dowd said, "What should I go and see?" And Chris CMB messaged him going, "I'll come see my show," and he liked it. And then he liked people's posts saying, "Go and see MacArthur Boyd," and he liked it. And then he was literally in the plate, so you can't fault him.
He's put two and two together.
Yeah.
And he's made 5, but you can see how it's happened.
Well, a similar thing happened to me though, although I obviously didn't assume, the same thing he did. But the day you were off, we had different days off, and because me and you were basically on at the same time, and there's only 2 rooms there, so you were off, so there's nothing else on but me around about this time. I go into my show, who's sitting in the upstairs bit outside the room? Stuart Lee, right? Yeah. And I'm going, and he's just sitting charging his phone, and I'm like, and obviously, first of all, I'm not fucking saying it to him, do you know what I mean? Like, don't piss me off or whatever. And then, but I'm like, what's he doing here? And
You've
I was
been
like,
sold out, so also it means Stuart Lee's bought a ticket months ago.
He's
got notifications on Ticketmaster.
I'm the only, hang on, right now. There's no chance Stuart Lee is coming to fucking see me. And then I think he was charging his phone, to be honest.
Might have been in for a nice steak.
Yeah,
Whatever.
but it'd have been funny if I'd went up to him and like, thank you so much for coming.
So much.
I know. People have been telling me you're a big fan. So no, that was funny, but like,
Did they not go and see like Amy Gledhill or something?
No, she was on before me. She had
Eleanor
Edgar
Martin.
Wright was in.
Oh yeah,
Film director. That was cool.
That's cool.
Is
that the film director you shagged?
No.
Can you tell the story about when you seen so there's a lot of comics and stuff went to see the show that won the best show was this Australian guy Sam Campbell.
Very funny show.
And do you want to tell the story?
Yeah, I was sitting next to Alan Carr. I'll tell you this to watch it, and he was just being the chatty man himself. He was being so Alan Carr. He's just like I've never met the guy, but he seems lovely. But yeah, I'm sitting next to him. But what really made me laugh was like he watched it like it was like I was watching it with my mum or something, because like he'd laugh at a joke and then he'd turn to me and he'd go like and he'd do a fucking Alan Carr impression like to me after like every joke. It really made me laugh so much.
That's great.
And then I bumped into Sam Campbell a few days later and I told him that, and I was like, oh, he loved it, man. He was pissing himself laughing. He was like, oh yeah, I thought he'd be talking the whole time because he's a really chatty man. Like, fucking hell, man.
What we're doing is we're going to now we're back in the studio for the first time since the start of the Fringe. We thought we'd bring back our I don't actually know if it's popular or not. I don't know if anyone likes the philosophical question or not.
It's not for us to worry about.
I've not had a lot of comments.
A few people comment.
Just do what you do.
You like it?
They like the philosophical stuff. If you like it so much, give us a philosophical question of your own.
Yeah, we would certainly invite any questions, philosophical or otherwise, that you like us to answer, because it certainly helps us fill the
fucking
fill the time.
Yeah,
we've said a lot to each other over the years, us three, but there's not much way in keeping back.
There's not a lot of stones unturned at this point.
Yeah.
Nice to have the 3 original Pokemon back though.
Oh, yeah. We should say that as well, actually. I was wanting to bring that up because basically, so the theme tune that we've been using, I got it off of YouTube, like studio library thing, basically where you can get like music for free. And it had only recently been released, so I thought this probably hasn't been used for anything. But then I found out that it was used in a video that's had 1.2 million views on YouTube. It was only for 3 months ago, so they've used it just after we had it first, right? But they've used our theme tune for some laugh on a video called Pokemon Road Trip, and then in brackets, best pals, chill vibes, great times.
The little thumbnail's really funny. They're like in the car.
They're in a wee car, and there's these Pokemon just driving along the car, like.
So if we were talking like Squirtle, Charmander, Bulbasaur, who do you think?
Well, who was it? Was it CMB that?
Yeah, we did put it up on Twitter. I need to try and find the thing. Oh, here it is. Right, so I've got it here.
I'm just automatically offended.
I'll put it up on the. I'll put it up on the screen.
Charizard, Blastoise, and Venusaur.
I was always a Blastoise guy personally.
Well,
if I it looked fucking hard.
I like the Charizard.
I feel like just in terms of how we're even sitting.
But you in that
I'm on the driving seat here.
Yeah, in that
Stevie's
picture,
next to me and Stuart's in the back seat. He's chilling out.
Yeah,
chipping in with the callbacks and all that.
That's
it's disappointing for me because no one likes the fucking green guy, the wee Venusaur. No one likes him.
Well, is that what he is? Venus? I don't even remember.
You can take solace in real life, Steve.
Because is that new though? Because it used to be Pikachu's one, no?
He's.
Oh no, you caught.
So see in the game, you got a choice of 3 starter Pokemon to to choose from, it'd be those three.
Charmander.
It's not the original 150, is it?
No, that's when I
These
checked
are all.
out.
Ah, no,
This is like the super. It's like when Dragon Ball Z went too far and they became like super duper duper Saiyans, and it's like, you know, Goku times a million or whatever.
I wasn't into Dragon
You know
Ball Z.
nothing, mate.
I know, I
He's
don't know.
old school, this guy, Steve.
Sorry, I
fuck are you
don't know
talking
anything
about?
Pokemon. Me and Stuart have just been shagging off Fringe, okay? So
Yeah, I know.
This is the opposite
I know Stuart has, but
I just like to keep it myself.
Our writers' room, me and Steve are working on a topical sketch show at the minute, and when we do the read through, it's just us having to explain things to Steve the whole time.
big words.
Yeah, what was it? You should keep a list of the ones you don't know.
Well, there was some fucking name, Baish. Who's that?
Percy by Shelley.
Do you know him? Do you know that
I know
person?
Percy Shelley.
Do you know the middle name?
Oh, Bish,
But no,
obviously.
there
But
some
it
good
was
ones.
a bit of discussion.
Fuck, I
Was
should
it is it
remember.
Bish or Bish? Do you know that? Bish.
Bish, don't kill my vibe.
The best one was Alexander Cole Hamilton, the Lib Dem, and there's a bit where he calls himself ACH, but Steve was going, ach.
No, I said H because I thought it was
Even
like
worse.
just like a.
Yeah, you'll be a fucking politics expert by the end
Yeah,
of this
I'll be
one.
schooled in
Stuff
it,
you're
man.
doing.
I now know who Patrick Harvey is. I know
You
Ian.
know who
Bo-
Patrick Harvey was?
No.
I've done a gig in front of Patrick Harvey.
Have you?
Have you?
Nice guy, aye. He's the great the
He's
the
my,
co-convener of the Scottish Green Party.
My local,
I know that now.
Is he your local
I
guy?
believe so, yeah.
Is it?
I
I know that now. I play him, Mark.
I don't know.
I am Patrick Harvey.
done a gig in front of him once, and he came up to me and said, "I used to work in a call centre as well." And I'm like, "Cool, man."
Sounds
Seems like a nice guy.
I also
Um,
once read I was like, I remember I took my gran to the hospital once and I was reading the Daily Mail that she bought, and like that's my excuse for reading it, but it was whatever the columnist is in the Scottish Daily Mail had the whole column that day was about how he was like, it was like an anti-environmentalist thing, and it was all because Patrick Harvey had nearly ran over him on his bike. I was like, you should have fucking rammed right in it, cunt.
Yeah, no, so that's been good. That's been fun. There's been words that I've been stumbling over,
Yeah.
and that Aurora Borealis.
Yeah, he kept calling it
Borealis.
Borealis. Yeah. It's like, how have you got to this age without hearing that?
Who knows?
Alfredo Borealis.
How did you? Well, I mean, it's not.
Yeah, the
you're not
Northern
saying
Lights,
that
man.
all the time, are
I'm
you?
no walking down the street saying it, but I've heard it.
Oh, unless
You know that-
unless it's appearing in the sky
Yeah,
above you.
exactly.
You know that a thing that people go like, oh, when I mispronounce words, it's because I
heard it in a
read
book.
them. I read words, and that's why. If you actually mispronounce words, it shows that you're smarter.
Hyperbole.
No, I know what that is.
I used to hang. Do you know the one that was in? Because in a lot of comedy books and stuff when I first started, it's like, you know, it's like a segue. That's like written down as SEGUE, so it's Sieg.
Yeah.
So I had to be audibles read it and go, work on your Siegs, and I'm like, why? What are they calling it? And I knew what they meant,
Yeah.
but I just thought that was a different word for it or something. And I
You
found
know
it-
the segue that like you stand on? Is
Yeah.
that spelled
I
different?
think that's
yeah, it is. Yeah,
segue.
That's phonetic.
Aye, that's like WAY at the
Steve
end. I
was
don't know why.
requesting his scripts in phonetic.
Yeah.
Next week.
It's like Donald Trump getting like a pure simplified version
I'll
of the
dictate
brief.
your script to you next week.
Writing crayon.
Yeah. But
Anyway, what was it? Were we going to do a philosophical question?
yeah,
Yeah,
and I
we
just
were.
wanted to correct Mark on the Pokemon as well.
Sure.
Oh yeah, sorry, we were deep in Pokemon there.
You thick cunt.
Hey,
We
chill
do a sketch
vibes.
about Pikachu.
Best
You'll
pals,
be,
good times.
I'll be right up there. I can pronounce all 150 Pokemon. It's
I feel like that's too
Yeah, that's-
bold a claim to not
yeah,
make
don't-
you have to do in the
Do.
next 90 seconds.
how can I name things? In
Is it not
90
like a thing you
seconds?
can you know just rhyme them
Get a
off?
spot,
No,
quiz.
Like the American presidents or something?
No.
It's quite a bold claim to say and then no follow up on.
I don't think his claim is that he remembers them all. It's that you could
No.
pronounce them all.
Pronounce them all. Stu gets it.
Drowsy,
Yeah.
Snorlax.
Stu gets
I
it.
could go on.
I could go on. Alakazam.
Anyway, guys, why do we dream? No, I think we have actually spoken about that before. That is here. Have we spoken about that before? Why do we dream?
No.
Freud and all these people say, you know, it's all to do with the subconscious. That's what it comes from. It's all your brain sorting out its things. There's a lot of scientific evidence that says that basically our dreams are all just coming from things in our brain and the subconscious. However, my auntie thinks that
I love it
it's,
when aunties think anything.
my auntie thinks that it's messages from ghosts and angels.
Love it. Love that for your auntie.
Both sides,
Jeez, oh.
interesting points.
It's like on the BBC where they have to have ballads. So you got one guy who knows the right thing and then some fucking crackpot with a mad theory.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
For a
not
fake balance.
a good balance between truth
definitely
and
not
lies.
that. But you know how we were talking about ghosts when CMB was on?
Yeah,
I might have experienced a ghost since then.
Titanic experience.
I was going to say.
Rose and Jack appeared to me on a door.
Jack trying to shag a 24-year-old ghost.
I was in my house last week in the toilet downstairs, and my cat was in the toilet with me. This sounds weird. She was just there. I was there.
Not a ghost of the one that died.
Not yet.
Well, who knows?
I don't know
What
what's
I was
going
going to say is my grandpa technically died in that bathroom, and she was there
Elvis.
staring up at the ceiling, making fucking weird noises.
Alright, your
So-
granddad died in the toilet and the cat made some noises in the same toilet
Like-
months later.
Well, almost a year to the day. Or almost
Almost.
2 years.
But why was it in the ceiling that she was looking up?
Well, a spirit, probably. That's where they live.
Probably.
Is that what happens? They need to stay in the one room, but they just ascend to the
Yeah, like a balloon.
ceiling?
And they can't get out.
I'd need more more proof than that.
I'm just saying I could have experienced it. That's
Do you
all.
believe that?
No, I just thought it was weird. Just thought it was quite weird. She's never made. I've never experienced that.
It's new stuff from the cat. You hadn't seen it do stuff like that before.
Exactly. I'm just saying it was spooky. It was spooky.
You know, I'm not against. I'm not against the fact that there might be something beyond our realms of comprehension. I wouldn't even necessarily jump to the conclusions based off of that example, but
I didn't say that as the
I was
fucking
pleased to
only
hear it.
example, but yeah, it was
Keep an eye on that.
because cats.
Keep bringing the cat into the toilet.
cats and dogs see things apparently.
they see.
Did you smoke a joint before this?
Yeah, on the Titanic one.
You mean so they see? So cats and dogs see things that we don't see beyond our
Yeah, they've got a sixth sense.
right. So
I don't
that's
think
not
that's
seeing
true.
then, is it? It's a different thing.
You can look at me when you're talking to me. Or you keep looking at Stu for looking over like a wee. That's why I don't like sitting in the middle.
It's like when you're chatting with somebody in the pub and they're fucking nuts. You need to communicate. It's
Yeah, staring at somebody.
Yeah,
I'm
drink.
fucking. I can see you. I can see you staring over.
I've not looked at Stu in 2 weeks. That's interesting.
You never want to hear that.
Fascinating.
That's
That's
interesting. Enjoy your night, mate.
I'm going to go back to my friends now, actually.
What do you think?
What to
The
decide
dreams.
between Freud and Marc's auntie?
Yes.
What do
I'm
you,
with Freud on that one, actually.
what do you think dreams are, or whatever? What was the question?
Yeah, I think that your subconscious ticking over. Jen.
Yeah. I do
It is
believe though-
mental to think about.
Yeah, it is mad as fuck.
What is it? That's like you can't make up things in your dream, so it's
Everything
only
exists, right?
yeah. So if there's a person in your dream, you've seen them before or whatever.
Did you hear this? This used to fucking scare the shit out of me when I was younger. Like I remember hearing in school that if you died in your dream, you would die in real life, and I was every night I was fucking so scared to go to sleep. And so I remember one time having a dream about falling off a cliff, and I woke up and I was like, and like that happens all the time. I have died in my dreams a lot, and actually I always wake up just as you die.
Does that know what they say? When you hit the ground, that's when you wake up, so you don't
Yeah.
actually die.
But I know, but what happens is that? Well, I mean, I guess there's no way of knowing. But did you ever hear that? That you
You've
would,
heard of that, yeah.
you die in your dream, you die in real life.
I don't know if I believe it, because if you die in your dream, then
Doesn't believe daft stuff like that. Just believes
yeah, that's stupid.
his granddad's fucking peeled to the ceiling in your bathroom and the cat's going ape shit.
You never know. Never know.
I think we can connect to a super conscious, a higher form of consciousness that we're all part of sometimes through dreams, and I think that's see where you get inspiration.
That's what like meditation's meant to be. Like,
Absolutely.
That's what David Lynch sort of.
David
believes.
Lynch. I'm quite into all that shit, and it's all. There's never any way of proving it.
No.
But even now, when you're writing jokes, sometimes like the best jokes and creativity, like ideas you come up with, it kind of comes like this bolt out of the blue,
Yeah.
and you kind of go, where the fuck that come from? And sometimes it is for totally with, and you could argue it's the subconscious, but I think it's a way of connecting to something outside of
A
ourselves.
unified consciousness.
Unified field, which is what I think
that
David
is-
Lynch
that
says.
is right. Yeah, I got big into that during lockdown. I was trying to meditate all the time.
What? Hold on. You think that yous are in each other's dreams and shit?
I dream about you
It's
guys
not
all
like
the time.
Inception or whatever. It's not like
A unified dream?
no,
like a
no. I
dreamland?
just mean that there's like there's like in the ether. There's like these ideas and things that exist maybe in the ether that we can sort of tap into through things like maybe meditation or even taking drugs or when you're asleep or like dreaming and stuff. I think sometimes
Because there's no way to explain consciousness.
yeah.
And I'm the weird one.
I mean, it is starting to sound pretty fucking hippy-dippy.
I mean, it's a pretty out there thing to think, I guess, but a lot of creative people not in it. Like Ralph Waldo Emerson, apparently, who you probably find out about by next week's fucking radio thing. Now you've learned
I'll
about
write a
Percy
sketch
Shelley or
about
whatever. He said that he believed he was a conduit and he would just write and it would all come through him, and loads of writers and stuff say that it all comes through them, like, and it's
just
like
what
they're
flow is, right?
yeah, you're just like you're like a container for the ideas to take them from the ether onto the page or the stage or whatever the fuck
That's
it
how
is.
my routine about toilet brushes came to be, if you can believe that.
I was just sitting there waiting for somebody to capture and put out there.
And you said that Lynch was into this.
David Lynch is big
He
into
loves it,
his
man. Transcendental meditation.
And you've
TM.
seen his fucking films, haven't you?
yeah, they're
yeah, he's
mental.
fucking off his nut, yeah.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
off his tits. I don't think that's the best
No one ever
example
thought
for
about
it.
making a film about the Elephant Man before he came along.
Well, that's probably one of his more normal films.
Normal ones, yeah.
Have you fucking watched Eraserhead?
Yeah.
What the
That
fuck?
shit.
I was thinking because I think
I understand unified field consciousness more than I understand Eraserhead, to be fair. And I've seen that with my eyes.
See, looking back, we done that for the podcast, and I'm sure at the time I was like,
What's the script?
I quite liked that. It was fucking shite. It was pish. Sorry.
So what you're saying is that David Lynch is tapping into the ether for no reason,
He's
or to
tapping
make
into it in a
shite
bad
things.
way.
Well, because we watched it during lockdown, and I think I was in a bad way at the time when
we were
watching
all
it.
in a bad way.
And I thought, oh, I get this guy, but now I'm thinking, now I'm back to normal. I'm like, that cunt's off his tits. Fuck that, man.
I don't know, but I mean, it doesn't preclude you from making bad stuff, and even people like even the greatest artists or singers or musicians
Which
or
we are.
filmmakers or whatever, which we are part of. Don't get us wrong. Stuart was sitting next to Alan Carr at the Fringe. And fucking, that
I mean,
counts.
that close to greatness. I can't touch it.
Every week.
But like, there's only a couple of albums that bands will have, and then they'll know be great, and then there's only a couple of good films that people are making. Like, I always find it interesting that very few people remain like as good as that. So if there is a thing you can tap into all this stuff and find it, it's just sometimes it'll only last for a couple of films or a couple of albums or whatever. It's interesting. There's no surefire way of doing it, which might mean that it's all fucking made up, and it just means
The difficult second album.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It does feel like there's an element of magic to it, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I think there is. I think sometimes, and what it's like as well, like seeing like you'd have had this experience, I'm sure, writing the Fringe show, Stuart, but it's like sometimes you've got certain bits and they've got absolutely nothing to do with each other, and just there's some weird, almost like wee cosmic coincidences or just normal coincidences, depending on your perspective on it. But you go, I can't believe that ties in together so well, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so serendipitous, I think.
there's
that
a
it all
lot of
comes together.
serendipity is the word. That's what I'm talking about. It's that whole thing you're thinking about somebody telephone you. We've spoken about before. I can always get parking spaces, like all this sort of stuff. Is serendipity? But I think that sometimes these things are so like convenient and come at exactly the right time that you kind of go. You don't.
What's going on here?
A higher power.
It's for you won't go by you.
We believe in God. That's what we're saying.
Yes,
Except
try to
I
convert
don't.
people
I
to a
don't.
religious experience.
Yeah. What about solipsism? You into that?
What does that mean again?
No, I don't know what that means in this context.
I'm the smart one.
Educate us, Steve.
Jeez, look at this. This is how the tables have turned. I can't really remember, but it's like it
I thought
ties
that
in
just
with
went like narcissistic. Is that wrong?
it. Ties in with like the like the Truman syndrome thing. Kind of ties
sure?
in with that a wee bit.
Is this going back to how you always thought you were in a
Do you want
television?
me to just get solipsism definition up here?
It doesn't. It's not fully like that, but it's basically it's like selfishness and people thinking that you're important. It's a bit
Well,
narcissism.
Solipsism is the philosophical idea, so we're on the right
Ding,
theme
ding,
here,
ding.
that only one's mind is sure to exist. And
We've kind of
think
spoken
therefore
about
I
that
am.
with this
before.
René Descartes thing before, I think therefore I
You
am.
didn't understand it then.
But
If we'd have described it as that, you'd have been alright.
well, in terms of being sure, because like I guess the Truman thing is like, I guess
Well,
it's a
do you want to hear
narcissism
this?
thing.
This kind of goes on to say solipsism holds that knowledge of anything outside one's own mind is unsure. The external world and other minds cannot be known and might not exist outside the mind.
Because
End of episode.
I used to, I'd done the bit about the Truman thing, Truman syndrome, and then it was some comedian was like, "Oh yeah, you're talking about solipsism there," and I was like, "I don't think it's the same thing," but who's that? Pete Johansson. It was him that said it.
Okay. Well, it does have it. There's a section in the Wikipedia that says that it does relate to Cartesian dualism, which is what we're talking about, the René Descartes thing. There's not a section about the Truman Show in the Wikipedia, but I think it's a similar thing. Well, in the Truman Show, that basically is the whole thing, that he doesn't think that he's the only thing. He doesn't think everyone's watching him, or that he's the only person that exists, but actually he's like, everyone is watching him, and he's the centre of the universe or the world, and people's all watching him.
Aye, but Truman syndrome is that you think that you're
on a TV show.
Yeah, or you're like the most important person, and everyone. It's kind of like main character syndrome, I guess.
Yeah.
Nowadays, but did you ever have that?
No, but I'm sure you must have really been battling with it, not being on the podcast the last 2 episodes. How can this exist when I'm not here? No, we've spoken about this before, and I think on the podcast as well, where we both realised that I'd never seen the Truman Show growing up, but I used to watch Noel Edmonds' House Party and shit like that. And I thought, like, maybe my life's a telly show. And
I used to watch Deal or No Deal and think I was the banker.
Whenever he'd put the thing and ring, you'd be on the phone like,
all right,
$2,000. It's a common thing, and I'd be curious to find out how common it was amongst other comedians, that Truman Show thing. But solipsism, I guess it's just the idea that fucking you're the only brain or person that exists. I think that's quite a common thing.
Because we've not done the philosophical quandary in a few weeks, we should get a couple
out. A few of them. There's one that's just called "How Replaceable Are You?"
Very on this podcast.
Irreplaceable.
Here's this one. Where do you find meaning in life?
I mean, you meant to say this podcast, aren't you? But that would be a lie. Where do I find meaning? In hanging out with my friends and in my work, mainly in my family. All the standard shit.
Stevie?
Dunno. Yeah, no, I'd like that. So, what's your definition of the meaning? Like, what's the meaning of life? Is that what you're asking?
No, where do you find your meaning?
My meaning in life?
Yeah. What makes life worth living for you?
I look for family and all that.
We should write a book, man. What about you, Marc?
Yeah, I think for me, probably more a bit of work, just trying to put stuff out there that I suppose you can leave something behind, and just doing stuff I enjoy, writing. I like to try and exercise when I can, spending time with friends, always fun. And I think being around people, even though I'm quite an introverted person, and I think sometimes like writing and stuff, I'm always trying to get a bit of time to just have a bit of peace and quiet and go on with stuff. But I think actually, like, just being around people, try to be a positive force in other people's lives, and just having people around you that make you laugh and all that shit is good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, having a laugh with friends.
Having a laugh.
Which is what we're here to do.
Having a wee laugh,
Don't
guys.
take it too seriously.
Exactly.
No way, man.
Or as they would say in Pokemon, best pals, chill vibes, great times.
That is the meaning of life.
Gotta catch them all.
And I think that about covers it for this week's ep.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's getting warm. You can sense it.
You can sense it
There's
getting
a
warm.
woozy vibe in here.
So that's us, guys. We are finished for the Fringe, so there's nothing really else to promote at the moment, other than listening to your guys' radio show, if you want to plug that.
Why not?
It's called Rising Up. It's on BBC Sounds.
Yep.
BBC Radio Scotland.
First episode just dropped.
Means Steve's day job.
Yep. You're my boss.
Yep. I can sack you. So keep your fucking powder dry.
So you just better get researching who all these fucking.
It's funny because he's in like they
Writers
all
are.
record in this studio, and then I'm like in the like a producer, and I can press my button and chime in, and I'm like, Steve, can you just do that again, but better, please? There was a funny one yesterday. We had to sing an Oompa Loompa song. That was great. I really enjoyed hearing that. I'm trying to write as many songs as I can get out of you.
Yeah, I'm happy to sing. I'm a great singer, so happy to.
Triple threat.
Yep.
Stevie B.
Yep.
It's not
Acting.
so much worrying about hitting the notes as just pronouncing the names correctly for you, I suppose.
It's difficult, man. Because the problem is, the thing gave me credit for is we're seeing these scripts for the first time, and you're reading it and fucking trying to do Douglas Ross or whatever, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you're hitting it with Borealis.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's a lot to ask for me.
You still not be able to say it.
Egregious. You're like, what?
Yeah.
How's it not egregious?
I seen a good tweet yesterday, and it was something that was like, oh, like my girlfriend is annoyed I've still not replied to her, I've still not commented on a Instagram post. It's like, give us a minute, shorty, I'm trying to figure out how to spell George's.
Well, I got a message, right, that I don't understand, and I don't know if it's a compliment or a fucking really bad insult, because it's the choice of word that threw me.
What is this in reference to?
It's just an absolute random DM that came into my other folder on Twitter. Hello, you are very infectious in your presentation.
That's good.
Is that a good
Unless
thing?
it was during COVID.
Well, it was like yesterday.
Just means that you're a charismatic.
As long as
performer.
that's not what that director said to you after you chucked it at the window, Stuart.
It wasn't. I didn't chuck her. She escaped. That was. It wasn't.
But infectious sounds bad.
It's an infectious laughter.
Well, that's they used to always say about Ali McCoy, he got an infectious
Yeah.
personality and all that, and it's
Yeah.
Like, you rub off on other people. You.
like his enthusiasm was infectious. They
Yeah.
say.
It's a compliment, man. Take it.
I know it was. I just wanted to let people know that I got it. No, it's just quite an odd thing to say. Just say, I think you're hot.
It sounds like English ain't their first language. Is how I'm reading that.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you think they've went to like the synonyms of
Yeah,
like
they've gone Google Translate.
And also, yeah, presentation is the weirder word in there, I would say.
in your presentation? Yeah.
I
But
would,
TED Talky.
How you present yourself.
yes, I think that's a weird thing.
Maybe
to
they're
say.
calling you hot.
That's what I thought maybe, but I didn't want to. But also, it's like infectious in your presentation. It would be like your personality's infectious or whatever. Like your
Yeah. I think they're saying I like your sketches.
Yeah. Steve, if you're having this much trouble with that DM, man, God help you with these
Yeah,
scripts for the
fucking
next
scripts, man.
fucking 8 weeks.
That's not a simple. That's not a simple DM.
It is
on,
only
guys.
about 5 words.
Come on. Come on,
Good
guys.
thing that they sent about Aurora Borealis. Aurora Borealis.
Your eyes are like the Aurora Borealis.
Yes.
Very good compliment.
Anyway, at
Let's
this
get
time
out
of
of here,
year,
man.
yeah, let's go. Yeah, listen, if you guys have found this infectious, the enthusiasm and the presentation of this podcast, please do remember tell your pals, like and share it on social media. You can follow us at Some Laugh Pod on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, where we will be having a lot of the new clips up. I've been shirking on the clips a wee bit while I've been at the Fringe, but I'll get a lot of them from the previous episodes up recently, including the ones for this one, and in future we'll keep those up to date. And you can obviously also please do like and subscribe on YouTube, where we are growing on there. We want to try and get to 1,000 subscribers soon.
What are we
And
on?
We're 650, something like that. So, but it's getting there. It's
Not bad.
growing.
Decent.
It's
Thank you.
getting there, and we're really happy with the numbers every
Thanks
week.
to all the
please.
listeners that have been coming out to our shows as well, man. It's
That
really
yeah.
cool.
one thing
Really
we should
nice
say,
meeting folk at the
we,
back end.
we started moaning about people at my shows, but genuinely, like, one of the best things about Fringe was getting people along, like they were saying after the shows, that they listened to the podcast, and we really
really
appreciate
cool.
it. It was like so much more
Yeah.
than we would have thought. Like you know. Like would turn up and say that, so it was great, and it was I was really always pleased to see that the people who would say that always were dead sound, and,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
cheers.
It was
guys.
never a nightmare. that-
No, I don't think those people who I had to block and chuck out of my show are listening to the podcast.
Folks sitting at home watching this on YouTube just shouting at it, trying to ruin it.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, okay, I'm going to get the same like comment about how rude I was underneath
Yeah.
on YouTube. Now, let's hope not. And by the way, no hard feelings to those people either. But I just hope you understand that, you know, you did ruin any chance of
Just
got
cut straight back into
a
you
mainstream
fucking
career.
cunts.
Yeah, fucking cunts, you know. But anyway, but no, guys, listen, thanks a lot for tuning in. As I say, like and subscribe on YouTube. Give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, if you've enjoyed it, and just keep tuning in, guys, and we will speak to you very soon.
Cheers,
Thank you.
guys.
Cheers.